Greetings and welcome to the Thirsty Mage, the virtual pub that enjoys collecting things. I'm your host David Lloyd, and this week, whether it's monsters, demons, or retro achievements, we're hard at work collecting everything that we can. Joining me at the tail end of a well-deserved vacation, currently collecting monsters in a Capcom spin-off, it's Paige Chamberlain.
Hello. Well, at least we know which one of us is Judas today.
Yeah, that's right. We had a rare occurrence where we were very close to having 3 people on the podcast, but we've been ghosted on this holy weekend that we're recording. But yeah, we got Paige after a long break from. I think it's been a couple months now. I think since
I think I scrolled and it was like January. So.
Oh man, so yeah, almost for about 3 months. Yeah, it's nice to have you back, and I'm sure the people listening are getting tired of just me and Casey at some point, but that's what they're stuck with for now. But not this week. We got Paige here to talk to. It's funny. We were joking before the podcast about how Casey got to do a lot of the Pocopia talk, even though Paige, you had beaten it in a span of how many? It would be like 100, and it was 4 days. So I was trying to do the math in my head. That's like 114 hours, something like that.
Well, I beat it in 25 hours, so.
Oh yeah.
Of like playtime.
Just consume that. Just it was that good, was it? You just couldn't put it down.
pretty much, yeah. It helped. I had like a weird shift day at work. It was like I had a 3-hour gap between jobs, so I like picked up my game. Well, I didn't pick it up because I went digital, so I just played the like intro of that, and then sometimes I can manage to squeeze a lot of games in. And I mean, being a Switch thing helps. The hybrid nature really helps with that, as opposed to like my PS5 RPGs, where I have to share the TV with a toddler and then a grown man who's playing all the Resident Evil games.
Oh yeah. It's funny. Everybody I talk to is playing Resident Evil games again. I know they're on sale this week, like 50% off. But I know, Casey's gone through them, and then there's a couple podcasts I listen to, and they're all playing them again too. It's crazy.
On the PS5 home screen, it's just like a shrine to Capcom, because it's just like Resident Evil, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Dino Crisis. He got for some reason hasn't played that one yet. Resident Evil. I think he was on Code Veronica or something. At the moment.
They're all well, and it's funny, like all these video game companies going out of business, laying off people, and Capcom's just swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, well, that won't preclude them from doing any of that stuff, though.
No.
Swimming in money doesn't prevent layoffs.
No. The Japanese companies seem to be pretty decent about it.
They have actually fairly strict labor laws. That's why there's that thing with the not firing somebody, but like isolating them and like taking away their work for them so that they'll voluntarily leave.
Yeah, some long time. I'm hoping that wasn't the case with there's a lot of long time Square employees that have kind of moved on. It's hard to say whether they were shown the door or found it themselves, because I know a few of them have been there since like very early Square, so I'm sure they're kind of in retirement age anyway. So hopefully it was a graceful send off and not a bum rush.
Yes.
But yeah, and I guess the other big change this year has been, for anyone who hasn't read the magazine yet, we've got an official real digital magazine available now. We're 2 issues deep. Just to do a quick plug before we get into the main meat of the podcast. We were doing. I know we had initially started doing like a web-based one, but it wasn't doing it for me. I rediscovered my magazine program that I had bought years ago, and I got on a design kick, and and Paige, you had a huge writing kick last month for February. I think you had like 6 or 7 articles in there.
This next month maybe not so much, but we'll see how I go. I might, since I've got a few days left to beat the game I'm currently playing, so that might happen.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I got a whole lot. I was on a writing kick this month for the March. I guess it's February and March are the two issues out, and then April coming up. I've been on a big retro kick. I've been playing a ton of arcade games. So I got a big feature on Taito that I'll be doing. I played through Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon on
Oh yeah.
arcade. Yeah, I don't know why. I think I just accidentally came across it in going through kind of a treasure trove of arcade games, and I was surprised at the amount of detail in the sprites. And the kind of fun anime cutscenes they have when you do special moves and stuff. So I just kind of got hooked, and yeah, it's fun. Like some of these arcade games, you can get through them in like an hour or two. So it's not only can I write about them and then put pretty sprites in the magazine, but then it pads my retro
No,
achievement and backlogged finished game stats.
number goes
So
up.
it's win-win for in every regard. So yeah, been enjoying that. So yeah, you said you beat Pokopia. Keep blowing that title even the last episode. I couldn't
Well,
get
let
it
me
out.
see. I'm just gonna check it. I don't know. It might be Pokemon Pocopia. Yes, Pokemon Pocopia, but I only call it Pocopia.
Yeah.
Japan, it's like something different too. It's like
Oh, right.
yeah. Oh, it's not
Yeah, the
showing
Dragon
anymore.
Quest Pokemon game. That's what it should be called. Um,
Uh,
Dragon Quest Builders Pokemon game. But then
yes,
you've
Dragon
also been
Quest Builder Story.
playing. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, the game that you've been playing. I guess the big game that you've been playing lately is Monster Hunter Stories 3. A game I thought about picking this up, but I was on the fence. So I'll be interested to see how what you think of it, and that'll kind of determine if it stays on my wish list or not.
Yeah, I'm about I think 30 hours into Monster Hunter Stories 3, and I might sort of be near the end. There's like a splash art page on the PS5 homepage. There's like art underneath the game when you sit on it. And I've only beaten two out of the four monsters on that picture, so I know I've got at least those two more to go before the final one. Um, but yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I've never actually finished any of the Monster Hunter Stories games. I've gotten about three quarters through the first one, I think, and both versions, both 3DS and Switch, and two I played a lot of the demo and then just didn't touch it when it came out. So it happens to me a lot actually. Demos are dangerous. I just play them a lot. I experiment with the game too much, and then I don't actually play the real game. So, with this one, it's got a bit more. I don't think it has more sticking power. It's just well, that's another thing I could talk about probably maybe after. Because like, there's not a lot of games for me to look forward to that have strict release dates right now, so I'm not in a rush to beat it. I could put the game down for a few days and go back to it pretty easily,
Yeah.
and I'm not stressed about that. I think the only issue I had doing that was one of the things in the game, because like there's a demo for the game which you can play, and that lets you go through basically the tutorial and a lot of that first area. But there is like a level cap, so that can be very annoying.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, I didn't do what other people were doing, where they were just like really grinding and messing with the monster stats and stuff, and trying to pick it because. Well, I'll probably go explain the game a bit, but there is a thing in each map where it's like one of the elder dragons, so really, really, really tough boss fight, and he was available in the demo. And I think people eventually, without cheats, managed to beat him, and then hatched. At least with the cheats, they did beat him, and then they hatched the eggs and released a bunch into the wild. Which I think I'm not super versed in Hunter lore, but I'm like I think like you gotta with the Monster Hunter Story series, you gotta sometimes not stick strictly to the. Like, I mean, they don't go entirely against the law, but when you're doing certain gameplay elements, they're obviously against like the way things work in that world. Like hatching a bunch of extra rare ones and then just like letting them go wild. That's probably not something that would be canonically done by your character. That's what you're doing for your own gameplay sake. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get back to explaining it from the start. The Monster Hunter Stories series is a spin-off series of the Monster Hunter games, but as a turn-based RPG. The first one released on the 3DS exclusively for many years, before getting a port somewhat recently. Two, I think, might have been temporarily Switch One exclusive. Two, and then we just got three this year. So that's pretty. It's
Pretty
good
close
to
together.
see. I think it's
Actually,
decent.
yeah.
Let's
I
see.
guess I guess the life
Um,
cycle of the Switch was pretty long,
five.
so maybe not that close.
The last one came out 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
kind of
they actually.
consistent, I guess.
Um, actually, there seems to could be consistently a 5 year gap between the games, so we might we might get another one in 2031 if we're lucky. Although I actually
Yeah.
think this game didn't sell good. It was like the numbers for the first week sales in Japan, and it was not good. I think everybody was buying Procopia instead, and
Yeah.
given how both of those games are over $100, I can understand the having to actually choose nowadays. Yeah, so it's a monster catching game because in the Monster Hunter series, you are typically monster hunters, and in the Monster Hunter Stories games, you are actually riders. So functionally, it's kind of the same because you still have weapons, you still like get the pieces from the monsters to make your clothes, although it's a lot easier in this one because you just fight them in a turn-based fight instead of like a real-time 20-plus minute fight multiple times to try and get the drops. uh, the main difference, but you have your monster is what they call the ones that you specifically have, and so you collect them, and in this one, I can't remember the exact differences between the games, and I imagine there's a lot of similarities between the second and the third. So I'm just gonna explain it as it is in this new one. So you have monsters, and you can have six at a time. And in the combat, you can just, or even in the combat and like the world that you're exploring, you can just switch them in and out easy as. So you fight like side by side with them in combat. Whereas, like I remember, yeah, in the first game, you actually go to a place where it's just hunters, and they're all freaking out because you've just brought a Rathalos into the town, and they're like, ah. you know, like the concept of tame monsters doesn't exist to a lot of people outside of like the rider areas. Um, it's they're just like can't believe that like this monster's just chill, and you could just sit on it and ride on it. So the combat it's sort of got a rock paper scissors approach where it's got speed beats power beats technical beats speed. Um, that happens a little less in this game because there's a lot of neutral attack types. So like, a lot of the skills you might use aren't actually tied to one of those elements or the triangle because there's also elements in that. It's different. So basically, with the triangle type, that can result in a head to head. So if you're coming at a monster with a power type attack and they've got a speed one, they're actually going to beat you and just cancel out your attack completely. And the other way around, or it can do like a draw, so you both take a bit of damage. And sometimes when you pick the same attack type as your monster, that results in you doing a big double attack, which deals a lot more damage. And you build up the kinship gauge, which is so whenever you're basically successful in head to heads and just like in general in combat, you build up this meter, and then when you put that on, you can get on top of your monster. And you can build that up to level 3, or you can just instantly release your kinship attack. So that's just like a big special ultimate attack that you'll do. But it can be a little bit stronger if you manage to stay on the monster without taking too much damage to bring it up to that next level. And in this game, you also usually have a battle ally with you, so that'll be an NPC and their own monster. So you sort of got like a party of 4, but you don't control 2 of them. you can control what your monster does. You can like just let them choose what they want, but you can also swap them in and out and pick from a set of skills. I couldn't see a way to make them just pick the normal attack though. um, and that can be very important because another aspect of the combat is that there's different parts of the monster that you want to aim for, and it'll tell you when you're hovering over them. Like if you break the part by like bringing the individual health of that part down, which still takes out the HP, but just like that thing is a separate meter. It might weaken certain skills. So certain monsters like they they have their unique traits based on what they do in the original games. So they like have the big fist to punch you with, and if you break their fists, then they don't hit as good. They often have transformations in this game, especially with the story is focusing on a lot of them going feral, where they're getting like crystallized and they hit pretty nasty. So you've got to really pay attention to what you're doing because sometimes a certain monster, like you're trying to hit the crystals to break them off, because that will also make them weaker. But depending on the phase they're in, they might automatically counterattack whenever you hit that spot, and you're going to get like knocked out. So it's not you got to not touch it for a while, but you really want to bring it down. And I was just trying to think what else is. So yeah, you've got the system. You still got your elemental attacks too, so that's very important as you get further into the games. Like I said, I'm maybe 3/4 through the story, and I've started in actually engaging with the mechanics of the RPG, which is the benefit of playing. I guess a modern JRPG on normal. You can often like get pretty far before you have to actually start fiddling with your equipment and the extra accessories and what have you. Uh, and and you can also use items and things like that too. The only other thing I think to mention generally is that you sort of have like you've got your health bar, but if you get that goes down to 0, you've technically got 3 heart points that are like 3 hearts that are shared between you and your monster. So like if I get knocked out and then another attack, me and my monster both get knocked out, that's it, the fight's over. Generally, the consequences for losing aren't super bad. If you're in a monster den, you obviously get kicked out and you don't get that den. Whereas dying, I don't even know if you like really lose anything in this one. You just get sent back to your last level save point, but like you've still done everything you've done to that point, as far as I'm aware. That's only really annoying in a couple areas where you're like going to a new place and you're trying to progress, and then you get knocked out by this one monster, and now you've got to like run all the way back to there and try to beat them. um, so that's the combat. You've got a little bit of exploration because you've got the monsters have certain abilities. So some can glide, some can climb. The Tobikadachi is the best because it can do both. There's some other ones that are less important, like you eventually get the canine, and they can dig, which you need to progress a certain part of the story, but then after that, it seems to be only in a few areas for extra stuff. Some monsters can do the breath attacks, which was the thing I got stuck on. I think I got distracted, but that was the one thing I forgot how to do. I had to actually 2 things. When I went from the demo to the full game, and there's a few weeks between that, I forgot what the controls were to how to activate the flying. So it took me ages to figure out to find that. And then I picked up a side quest because, well, there's little side quests just like the typical one where it's like, oh, hey, can you beat this up monster up for me? Can you bring me this item one? But you have party members and they all have like unique story quests. And I was doing one, and she's like, you need to get this from a Palumu, you need to hit it with a breath attack. So I would hit it, and then it would die because I was too strong. So I'd have to run into it so it didn't instantly die. And then I'd be picking moves that I thought were breath attacks, but that's not what it was. It was the thing I'd forgotten about, where you press like the trigger on the controller and you can aim a breath attack if you've got a particular monster like the Rathalos that you have to have and you can't take out of your party. Uh, and then it just drops them out of that. You don't even have to fight it at all. So I wasted like an entire hour trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, and then having to run around and fight other monsters just to respawn him because there was only two on the map and I've knocked them both out. Um, so the main thing to remember is that if you haven't touched the game for a while, just open up the tutorials and you will find what you're looking for. Um, otherwise, it is pretty easy just to put down for because it's a turn-based RPG. It is pretty easy to put down for a few days or even a few weeks and get back to it, which I've been doing. And yeah, so that's important. I feel like the getting around the world can sometimes feel a bit. There's a lot of verticality in this one, especially, and I can feel like trying the semi-platforming and stuff you have to do, especially with the gliding, because there'll just be these gusts of air, and that's how you get like up because you don't actually fly and you glide. Sometimes it takes me a while to get some of those jumps and stuff right. It's really annoying. Or if I do a really long distance flight, it feels like it kind of I don't know if it's hiccuping or what's happening, but it sort of stops you for like that half second, and you're like, ugh, and you feel like that's making it worse. So that I don't think I do like exploring the area, and then as I get more comfortable with the area, I know how to get around. But I do think maybe a lower point is the actual bits where you have to have to do these certain routes. Although that's more obvious and entirely optional thing. The other gameplay main thing to talk about though is the actual getting of the monsters. So, like in all the other ones in the series, monsters have these little caves that just sort of spawn on the map that you can see, and then you go in, and the monster might not be there yet; it might be sleeping. You go in, you start picking from a certain pool of eggs, and then you pick up the egg, and you have to run to the entrance to get it. And at what point the monster might wake up, or it might show up and start to attack you. So if the monster actually notices you, it won't let you pick up any new eggs. And you can just fight the monster, and if you win, you keep the egg, it doesn't break or anything. I guess it just gets put down for a second, off screen. But if you lose, you just get kicked out of the den and you don't get the egg. And that is how you get your monsters. You get the different types from there, and like the dens aren't tied to they're tied per area, but they're
It's a
not.
cradle rubbin.
Yeah, I was already playing it before my kids there. She's like, "Oh, that's the monster's house," and I'm like, "Yep," and I'm killing him and I'm taking his babies.
Oh man.
I'm like, "But that's for the monsters, there. Like they're my babies now." And no, yeah, it's really funny because I do try to put a bit more of an ecological spin on it, which I'll explain in a second. And we're called rangers and stuff, but it's like, yeah, I'm just like killing these guys and taking their kids. Although I don't know if it is their kids because I will pick up an egg for like a young Kikur, and then it'll be a Rathian that's inside the cave, and I'm like, that's not your baby. So I don't
For
because
cross pollination or something.
yeah, and then in this game, which is unique to this game, is the habitat restoration. So, like I said, there's these feral monsters going around where they're monsters that may or may not supposed to be there, but been crystallized, so they're super aggressive and they're just making a big mess of things. So you go through like that tough little boss fight with them, and then you get a campsite, so that lets you, just cook and a save and stuff like that. But also, then you have an area of that habitat. So you've got the map because there's a few maps, and then there's like a little sub area. So there's like feral monsters in each sort of sub area, and once you've cleared them out, you can release the hatched monsters back into the wild to boost their population. And as you do more of that, of a same monster, you'll increase the rank of the monster. And then, so you'll just get better genetics because it's actually that'll probably be a pretty big similarity with the game you want to talk about. There's a bit of gene modifying and like not quite fusion, but there is this thing called the rite of channeling where you'll copy a gene because I've got like a 3x3 grid, and you'll copy a gene which might be a skill or like some skills are active and passive, so and if there's a lot of little things to it, like if you get three in a row and it's the same element, they're boosted, things like that. But yeah, you can copy over genes from different monsters, and it's just that the higher rank monster has better genes. You know, they'll have inbuilt ones that are already there, they'll have more, they'll often be a higher level when you hatch them. So generally, it's a good idea to go and get the S rank monster for the one that you want. They'll just be a bit better. Although that said, I am fairly through the game, and I have my rank C Toby Kadachi, who I've named Toby One Kenobi, and he has been carrying me pretty hard through the game. So because I haven't been back to an area where I can replace him, and now I'm like, I'll just see how far I can get. If I really can't crack the final boss with him, then I'll go back and grind. Like, well, I mean, I would have done with some of my monsters because I'm like, I'm so attached. I just give him the same nickname as the old one, and
Oh yeah.
we are none the wiser. Although one thing in this game, so in normal Monster Hunter games, there's like, oh, here's a young Kitku, here's a blue young Kitku. In this one, it gets a bit funny because the higher rank you've got the population, you'll get mutations, and they're not like, well, not the mutations, but they'll just be a different color, and like, the genes again can be, the mutations are specifically those actual variants, and they have different, they might be a different element and everything, but they can just be a different color. So I'll open a blue yarn Kiku egg and it's clearly green, or I've got my purple Ludroth and it's clearly black. Like, it's not. It looks really cool, but it's just really funny. Actually, it can get kind of annoying because there's certain monsters you get at S rank, and now they're all snot colored, and it's like, I don't want you. Go back to the normal color. Um, so that's, yeah. So that's how you get your monsters, and then you can spread them out. So actually, what I did in one of the more recent areas is that because I did that, there are actually more monsters on the map. Like, it is more full. Like, it is harder to go for a little bit of like a walk around without that. Well, you ride on the monsters because it's just too slow on your own. Without getting like running into another monster or getting chased by a monster. Like, it does actually affect the population of the area. Another little aspect to that is the invasive monsters. So specifically at nighttime, similar to like the Elder Dragons thing, is there'll be an invasive monster, so a monster that's not supposed to be there, and they're really, really, really tough. And often you have to sneak around them to try and pick up these tracks to learn what the gimmick to actually beat them is. Because you won't actually beat them because they're super tough, but you'll like do a certain mechanic. For example, one I just did that I didn't have to do because it makes you do two of them for the story, and then after that, it's kind of like up to you how many you want to, like, because you want to try and find a specific monster. But I did one, and it actually really annoyed me because it was like, you need to get mud on its claws, and so I go and like hatch two mud monsters, and then I go, oh, this one, it says mud in the name, but it says water actually. So I pick up the different one and I take that, like they both do it, and then no, that doesn't count. So then I look up what to do. It's like, no, it was the other one I got. He just didn't, because he was low rank. He didn't have the gene for the actual attack I wanted. So I had to do like, not even like grinding in the traditional sense, but grinding in like, getting a few eggs, hatching them, releasing them, getting the better one, and then going to the camp, taking a dish to bring up his level, and then I fight like three monsters, and then he's up to level.
Oh yeah.
And then I use them for one fight to to temporarily scare this monster, so I can sneak into its cave and then get the special egg, and then I hatch that egg, release that into the wild, and then that monster was the Zenoga, and he is tough and scary, and he chases me, and he's faster than any of my monsters, and I can't beat him. But I can sneak into his cave and hatch his eggs, and then make him stronger, and increase the variance even scarier. So I can do that. So that's like the nice thing about this game is, obviously, the first few invasive monsters you have to do for the story wise. There's the feral monsters. You don't have to do all of them. Obviously, some you just run into as part of the story as the boss you have to do to continue, but some of them are actually like obviously way too tough for you, and it's like, oh, I'm just supposed to come back. It's something you just have to intuit yourself, where you're like, yeah, I've just got to come back to it later, because it does annoy me because there was one area where I nearly did get all of the feral monsters in the camp spots, and it's like, but that one was just too tough, and I'm like, ah, because then thankfully your pool of monsters you can have a 700 because I've got all these guys that I've hatched, and I'm like, there's no point in releasing them because they're supposed to be in this territory. You can introduce new monsters. There's like, I think it's a few extra slots, so I can just release a monster that doesn't belong there and put it in the like from the ice area to the grass area or the desert area if I wanted to, and they'll just be in there causing trouble.
Well,
Which is
as someone who lives in Australia, you should know the dangers of introducing animals into places they're not supposed to be.
yeah, well, that's even part of the story. It's like it is invasive species, and then it's like I think I can do that. I don't know some of these things I'm not 100% sure because I haven't actually like bothered to do it myself, but I have like sometimes gone, oops, I put this in the wrong little like the mini habitat. It's still from the same area, and it's let me. So
It seems like the whole game seems like there's a lot of systems going on,
they
and I was just watching a trailer, and it's like, man, like the game looks beautiful too. Like
yes,
when you think of like something like the the Monster Hunter stories, you think like maybe it'll be like a B tier, you know, when you think of like a 3DS graphics or something. But
yeah,
it's like, man, like this is like,
they definitely put budget into this one, which unfortunately
yeah,
doesn't seem like it's paid off for them financially.
that's
Unfortunately,
too bad.
but this is like the first one with full models. Kind of because
Yeah,
like, 3DS obviously chibi slash it was sort of for kids. They had to tie in anime following the same sort of story. And then the second one was a bit better because it was on the Switch, so a little more proportional.
yeah.
I do have to say, everything being proportional now means some of the monsters I liked aren't as cute now because they are just exactly how they look and not like slight, like they weren't cutesified or anything, but they did look a little bit different in the old art style. And now it's like, it's just this guy.
Well, yeah, it looks like a full blown anime
Mm.
to a certain extent. Like,
So I got this game on the PS5 because I played the demo on Switch 2, and it was running really sluggish in handheld.
mm.
And I mean, aside from like, obviously, I'm trying to, except for Bakovia, where I just bought it digitally, but mostly, I'm avoiding the game keycard thing by just buying PS5 games for the time
That's one
being.
way to do it. Now
Um,
that new boost that they added to the Switch 2, does that affect Switch 2 games or just Switch games?
it's Switch One, so it tricks Switch One games into thinking they're running on the TV when they're in handheld on the Switch Two.
Oh, okay, so
Which,
it's only for
depending
Switch
on the
1.
game, can lead to certain issues with like you can't use the touchscreen on a touchscreen game because it thinks it's on TV.
Right.
Yeah, so it doesn't work. Yeah, the other,
Oh, okay.
but it can
That's
be
good.
helpful because a lot of Switch One games are looking real bad. I didn't experiment with that myself, so I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of systems in this game. A lot of them are similar, like the feral monsters and the invasive monsters are slightly different, but they're kind of the same. The optional super bosses is kind of, I suppose that's the thing. You can also certain bits restrict you from going at nighttime, but nighttime is when you run into like the super bosses or the invasive monsters. So like if you don't want to touch them or run into them accidentally, you just don't play at night. Just change the daytime at the travel points. But also it makes the enemies tougher at night. So then that can help with like I've never really felt like I needed to grind so much as I just need to get a specific monster for a side, like a certain quest. Something I didn't even have to do, like I said, that one. Or I was really having trouble trying to find a water monster because the story was like side story, we needed the water monster for this cave, and I was just like struggling with the water at that point because with a non-water monster they just drop you and let you swim. Uh, just slowly. So, and then I kept trying to find one, and then I'd be in the nest, and I'd be pulling up the egg, and it wouldn't be the water monster, even though it's because it shows you. You look at the nest, and it has all the different eggs that you could potentially get. Um, but like you could get every egg out of that nest, and then you can only take one with you, or two if there's two nests, but it's one per nest. But you might pull all the eggs out, and it's not there. And I was having a bit of trouble with that, and it's getting really annoying. But it was all worth it because I eventually got my black Ludroth, and she's lovely. So I actually haven't named. Oh no, I did name that one. I gave her a different name because she was black, so I just called her Kuroko. Um, but I normally name the Ludroth Sponge Cake because it's spongy. So I have been having fun with actually somewhat experimenting with different monsters too. Because like my favorite's Nocilla, but I haven't used her quite as much in this game. I have actually been using the Rathalos, like the one that I can't get rid of, a fair bit in this, because I've started. The elemental difference does, dealing damage and makes them weak. The weak to does really help. But like I said, my Toba Kadachi is still quite strong. I do occasionally swap out the other monsters. Like I'm feeling like a little less attached. Although part of that is that I can just the swapping of the slightly better one that's the same monster, but I'm not being too strict on trying to keep the same ones, and it's also fun because there's monsters from Rise and the DLC and Wilds, and I haven't played Wilds, so I'm like, is that a Wilds monster? I think what's
Oh
that
yeah.
from? So it's nice to see the different monsters. I am a little disappointed in the armor though, because I'm like, oh sweet, I fought this monster, I can make the armor of it. And I go, that's not what this one's armor looks like. And it's like, oh, it's the alpha version. So it's like the master, it's like the, not the base gear, it's the higher rank gear. And I'm like, I don't like that as much. That doesn't look as cool. I don't like it. Thankfully, there's like basically layered armor, so you can, like, I'm wearing this outfit, but visually I'm only seeing this outfit. And so I got my husband's Wilds cross save, and I got the outfit for that, which is really nice. I like that one quite a lot. Because I played the other game on 3DS and Switch. I do not get the cross save bonuses for any of my other Monster Hunter games, unfortunately. Can't use the amiibo.
Oh, that's no fun.
So yeah, so that's one downside.
Yeah.
Of like the changing, the one downside of changing what console you're playing a series on is when they do stuff like this, and the save bonuses are actually like a cool outfit that you can wear, and it's like not tied to your actual stats because you can, like I said, just layer it. But yeah, there's a heap of systems. They're not obviously they get introduced a bit gradually, but the combat's really fun. Like it's really fun working on um, dealing. And some monsters have like their unique mechanics too. Like I said, that's why you try to break certain parts so that they don't unleash really devastating attacks. But it's just really fun smashing through them, and it's just I found it very engaging. The fights have been quite good. There's a bit of a thing where you spot monsters and you go, I'm not touching that with a 40 because the Devil Joe pops out of the ground next to you and you go, ah, and then you jump off the mountain so that it doesn't get you. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's been quite fun. I've been, I think I'm tidying up the final like party member quests now. It's quite like a just sort of a normal JRPG, even though it has all its own aspects and stuff. Like there's even the badly controlling mini game that you don't really want to do. In the case of Thea, who's like a piggy loving little protege, not protege, but like your apprentice, sort of like the newest ranger. And her thing is doing a race against these really fast piggies, and yeah, it controls awful. Um, I did manage to win them all. The last one I had to do, I had to do it like a few times because there are actual alternate paths that would block you, and you can't just turn around because the controls aren't as free as like in the actual world. So I had to press stop and retry like twice for that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And they definitely rubber band, but I do like it in the way that it's endearing that it even has those little things. And it'll have little NPCs that quiz you and you get all the questions wrong and you just start again until you get it right. right. So it is also funny to see, like, even nowadays you're still getting Breath of the Wild influence in games. We don't have like the shrine things, thankfully, but well, maybe not. Breath of the Wild could be Ubisoft. It's Lookout Towers.
Yeah.
Um, only a few of those, not a lot, but like the same thing. Like you go, and not as hard to get up. Like you just go up, and they're like, "Here's the map," and like, "Thanks, mate," and then you can look for stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's got the gliding, and I definitely do think this one is a little bit Breath of the Wild inspired because like even your main character's default outfit is blue,
Oh, okay.
and like the pastel shades, a little bit. I think there's a little bit of inspiration in there.
Yeah.
Not as crazy as a lot of games, but it's funny just to see those little touches where you're like, yeah, somebody liked this game.
Well, like I'd be definitely more interested in something like this. Like I've tried playing Monster Hunters before. Like I've played 4 and I've played World, and I think there was one other one that I tried, but I don't. I've never had the patience for the actual like hunting and trapping and all that stuff. Like it's just been like the gameplay is just not for me, like for that type of game. But if like this one looks pretty neat, just watching the trailers and from your description of it, it sounds like it'd be more up my alley. Definitely with like the turn based aspect to it anyway. That there's like an actual story that that's going on as well. Like
Mm,
it definitely sounds like something that I've got it on my wish list now. I guess that's how I put it. But I don't like $100 though. Like oh my god, like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
I'll probably just wait
uh,
for a sale.
yeah. That's my other thing. It's like it's not like it's a bad game, but the price, all the price of games has jumped up, and like they've put budget into it, but it's like, well, it's still not necessarily any longer than the other games
Yeah,
in the series. But yeah, definitely play the demo because that'll give you an idea of the combat a bit more, and not all the aspects, but it gets you started and save carries over.
yeah.
The only thing off the top of my head I think I wanted to bring up was the allies themselves, like your party members. Um, you can, outside of when you're doing their personal quests, you can swap them in and out for the most part. And one of them is no longer my favorite, even though I bought the separate DLC to give her a better outfit. Because every time we fail a fight, she'll say useless, and that's very rude. So I don't like Cora too much now. I do also often actually swap my party members over sort of based on who I'm going to fight. For example, Cora, she's got a gun, like she's got a gun lance, so she'll taunt a lot. Sometimes that's very annoying because I'm doing a fight and he's going to hit something. So I'm going to do my special skill I have, which is a taunt that forces them to do a head to head. And like, so I'm going to win that because I know what he's current, like what sort of moves he's currently doing. Um, when I was talking, like he was attacking me, and I've got a no, sorry, yeah, he was attacking me, and I've got a counter attack ready, so he has to hit me for that to work, and then she taunts him, and it's like, ma'am, excuse you. That was really, but some are certainly better. Like this one guy, I don't have him when I'm generally out in the overworld, because he often does a unique skill of his, which is his cat comes out and chips damage to debuff, give him a bunch of debuffs. That's great when it's a boss fight. It is not so great when we're just fighting like three Banabras, three bugs. Like it's just
Overkill.
like yeah. Well, it's just like underkill because it's like you could have just hit them with a normal attack and they'd be dead, and instead you're doing this like status effect thing, like just hit them. So I do, yeah, I do manage them a little bit that way, where like I know the way they sort of behave.
Yeah.
Although that said, that he does also heal me a lot more than the other guys do, so it helps helps me get through some fights where they just have infinite items, so it's great. um, yeah, I think I talked about. I think I explained. Oh, I didn't talk about the story at all, actually. In this one, you get to be a princess or a prince. Um, Pretty. The main thing is the story seems it sort of starts off like, well, there's going to be a war. You're seeing people actually like use monsters in an army, and that looks really cool. And then you sort of like run away from home, and it gets a bit more typical exploring JRPG story for the time being. Until now, I'm sort of getting to the place that I was trying to get to. So like I think that's a lot of reviews said where it's like, oh, the story starts off kind of cool, and then all of that stuff doesn't really come back until the end because you just sort of left and you've gone to these new areas and you're sorting out their problems, and just sort of exploring and learning about what you came to learn, like about your mum because she ran off years ago, and like I think I mentioned in my thing on the magazine, he's sort of like the Homer J. Simpson backstory with the mum, where the mum like runs away because she's done something illegal.
Oh, yeah.
And got a big mother wound there.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I won't talk too much about it. I think I didn't need to in order to explain the gameplay itself. So, but but yeah, it's not like as
It's got a story.
intense.
That's the
It's
important
got
thing.
a story and it's not a bad story. It's not like as intense or as profound as it seems like when you first start, but it's got one, and I do like my party members. I'm not say as attached to them as maybe a couple other games like Persona 5 or something, but then this game is also probably not 100 hours long unless you're like really doing everything, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but enough that I am doing their side stories and like get you know, and plus that helps because that gives them better weapons and more skills and things like that. But also because I'm interested in the little, they all have their unique little stories. Like one of them is the one that's always finding cave systems because she loves geology, and so I'm always getting a little dungeon, which is kind of like the only dungeons in the game. Unfortunately, there's like a couple areas where they sort of like corridor hallway you, so it's sort of like that, like real small narrow areas that you have to
Yeah.
progress the story. But like her side quests are actually kind of there in the actual dungeons, so I definitely do hers.
Well, it's yeah, everything about it sounds neat. It's definitely, and I would imagine. Well, and it's funny too because like on Steam, it's got a positive rating, uh,
Well,
based
on
on
Steam,
yeah. Um, Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam one. It's got 83% positive, which is pretty good. But it's only like 1,700 reviews, so like you said, it clearly like the
mm,
sales are obviously not probably where Capcom would want them. But
no, because they definitely, obviously, like they made it look
like
better.
yeah,
Um,
money was put into this game. That's for sure. Like oh yeah, like they have like 10 trailers here, and it's like man, like
yeah, that's
the
the other thing I
animation
was
is
talking
just
about.
top
Like,
notch.
I don't know if the marketing was the right kind of marketing because they just kept putting out more trailers where it's giving you those little snippets of the story but not showing you much, and it's like
Yeah.
it's good that they did a demo. Um, but I don't know. Sometimes I see companies do those weird marketings where they're like collabing with like a cafe or some other weird thing, and I think why would you do that for like this game? And then I'm like, you know, maybe it's just more people need to know what Monster Hunter Stories 3 is at all.
Well, that's probably the best thing for them because like for someone like me, like who knows what Monster Hunter is, I kind of just was like, okay, well, this is like a Pokemon spin-off of Monster Hunter, basically. Like that's kind of where it was in my head. But yeah, like it sounds like there's like so many more mechanics to it. That they all. I guess it's tough because you could do a trailer kind of promoting all the mechanics and how how much
I
to
think
it
the
there is or
demo
whatever.
helped.
But
I think the demo helped a lot because there was a lot of people
yeah,
hopping on that otherwise wouldn't have never touched it before. But that was still not. That was a lot of people that I've seen on Twitter. Not a lot of people, you know, in the wider scheme of things. So
yeah,
I don't know. I just
it,
needed. Sometimes
it,
maybe that weird advertising is needed because it's like
yeah,
you're not subscribed to the Capcom YouTube channel.
yeah.
If you're a
Well,
person who
yeah.
isn't strictly following gaming news and stuff, then how do you find out about a game?
Yeah, that's true. Like to me, this seems like one of those games where maybe later on the sales will like it might be a slow burn sort of thing where maybe in 6 months or a year people or like even the first sale perhaps where people are like oh like man this game is actually good and then word of mouth kind of drives some sales later on when people
Mm.
start discovering it sort of thing.
I do think the price point also probably just hurts it because I know, like I said, most games nowadays are going for that price, but say in Australia it's $108, $110, $108 for your deluxe edition with some day one DLC, which is cosmetic, but like there's a side story supposedly that is like not out yet. That's tied to like the deluxe edition or the premium deluxe edition, which is a lot more. So some
Oh
people
yeah.
were like, I didn't want to buy the game because of that.
Well,
Um,
mine. So I've got three options here. The standard version's 95 plus tax, so that's going to be about 113. And then the deluxe edition's 125, so that would run me about 150. and then they got the premium deluxe edition, which is 139, which it's gonna get kind of close to, like, it's gonna be slightly over 150. It'd be like 160, 170. So like it's like, man, this is like twice what what I used to pay for games like not that long ago.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's a tough sale for sure, but I mean that's one of the things I like about Steam though is I'll just throw it in the wish list, and then one day I'll get an email that's like, hey, that game that you said you'd buy when it went on sale, guess what? It's on sale.
Um,
So yeah, I've
uh,
got the Digimon game like that right now. It's actually I think it's actually on sale. Yeah, it's the Digimon Storytime Stranger is actually on 30% off. So not quite. I'm still holding out for the 50% off, but uh, another game that's like $113 where it's like, well, I would buy it for 60. Not,
I was thinking about Digimon a bit last night when I'm playing because there's like minor similarities with these monster catching games that have like the you're trying to get the certain skills and things like that from them. But I was just thinking about some of the boss fights in Digimon Storytime were a bit mean. They had very unique mechanics, and then you've got like slightly acidic mechanics. But one I did was sort of a vampire-like monster, and then I was thinking about the vampire like guy in Digimon, and then in Monster Hunter Stories, I basically just it was like, oh no, he's destroying his health through what you do, but it was like I just dealt enough damage that it didn't matter. So,
yeah,
whereas the one in Digimon was really mean. Oh, that was a nasty fight. They had a really mean mechanic, so I'm like, I'm glad that this didn't happen in this game because I would have been really pissed. um, but yeah, they're both pretty good games. Um, I can understand the price point being a tough thing for people though. Like it's not
yeah,
necessarily worth it, but just budget wise, it's kind of like yeah, oof, it's a bit of a difference.
yeah. I mean, the one thing though is like you said. I think you said at the beginning of the episode is that there's not a ton on my list. I think like for games that I want to pick up this year, the number one I would say right now I guess would be Adventures of Elliot.
Well,
And
that's
even
actually
it's actually cheaper. It's only $80 before tax, so it's
mm,
like 20, almost it's like $15 cheaper than these ones.
well, that was
Um,
one thing I sort of wanted to maybe talk a little bit about if we had time. Was that we know games are coming out this year, but like
yeah,
without the release dates, it's looking really thin. Like the next game I'm looking forward to is Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, and obviously when that comes out, I'm going to be playing it like crazy for a week. But then after that, it's sort of a game that you check in for like a half an hour every day. Like you just pop in and do some stuff. You don't really play it
yeah,
start to finish. And yeah, so the next thing that definitely is that for me is Adventures of Elliot, and that's like 2 months away.
yeah,
And so it's really weird because it's just like, oh, I beat Octopath Traveler 0 in 2 months, and then I beat Dragon Quest 7 a lot quicker than I was expecting to. So I managed to like not rush through these games, but like play them at my own particular pace, which is with like fast forward modes on. Thank you.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is like over the past few years, we've kind of been trained into being like, okay, there's going to be a new game
Quick, I've
coming
got
out
to
every
finish
two
this
weeks.
JRPG before the next one comes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this 80-hour RPG, you got 2 weeks, and then the next 80-hour RPG comes out, and then you got 2 weeks until the next 60-hour RPG comes out, and yeah, we're just getting like flooded with games for the past like it's been years, like a few years in a row now. I think
Yeah.
where there's always been like at least a game a month, if not two a month, that are like definite pickups, and then you get like a few sprinkled in between as well, like even I think it was like last September. I remember there was like three games all coming out at once. There was like Trails in the Sky remake, Final Fantasy, Evil East Chronicles, and then there's another one. They all came within 10 days of each other, and it's just like, jeez, like just two. I ended up skipping out on
Yeah.
Evil East Chronicles because it was like there's just too many at one time. Like I can't play them all.
Yeah, whereas this one, it's like these gaps. It's like, wow, I could actually. Because sometimes I look at a game. Because sometimes I'll finish a game maybe a week before the next big one comes out, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll play this, and it's like 40-hour game, and I'm like, oh, I better not. Uh,
Yeah,
and now it's like, oh, I might be finished with this game soon-ish. And then I've still got what 2 months before the next actual big like, well, presumably like similar length game. So it's like, oh, I did import another PS5 RPG to play, and it's like, oh, I might actually finish that one as well before Elliot comes out.
Yeah.
So hopefully Nintendo announces Fire Emblem, and I can spend 2 months playing that like I did with the last one.
Yeah, when is that Fire Emblem? They didn't give a
This
date or
year,
nothing, I
I
guess. Eh?
think. I think
They
this
just said
year.
this year, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like it'll probably be soon, but it's like, can you let me know?
Yeah. I got
Time.
plans.
It's time and budget, especially with the
Yeah.
price. With the prices, it's like, oh, maybe I won't. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out in May, but it's like, do I want to spend $100 on Yoshi? I might. Not really
Yeah.
sold on it right now. And then other like, and now, yeah, now all the budget games are more expensive.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like a lot of games like we're hitting the where we're getting a lot of delays on games too. Like, because I was thinking about picking up Mina the Hollower, and it
Oh
doesn't look like
yeah, yeah. I
there's
gotta
no.
stop.
It just says 2026 still. Like that was should have come out already, but I know they said they needed a bit more time with it.
Yeah,
But
I am. That's gonna be the last game I bother kickstarting. I tell you. Yeah, that was supposed to come out in Halloween, and now it's after other delays. Um, yeah, that too. But it was just like, oh, like I know that there will be you know, games soon, but now it's like as it gets closer, it's like, oh, maybe there isn't anything until that, and then we'll probably get like too many at once again.
yeah.
And it's like, how dare these
What
competitors
was
not
it? Oh,
like
Sacrifier
organize?
was one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Sacrifier, but there's no. I haven't heard anything since the demo last year,
Mm.
and it's still like even on Steam now, it still says 2026.
And someone said it sucks, and the developer just has been locked in their room crying. Maybe
Oh, I hope not, because I really enjoyed that demo. I thought it was really good.
I didn't play very much of that one. I was just like, I am too tired to wrap my head around the combat system right now. Thank you.
Yeah,
And then it's a temporary demo, and you're like, no, no. That's a bad thing about Next Fest. It's like you have to play the demo in that time, and it's like,
yeah.
come on.
Oh, it's funny. Speaking of Kickstarter, I still got Runa on my wish list. I haven't heard a peep about that one. I think that was the one that was inspired by. I know there was a Kickstarter for it, but I think it was inspired by Xenoblade Chronicles, if I remember correctly.
How do you
Um,
spell that? Because the one I just searched up is definitely not what you're talking about.
it's it's Runa.
No, I okay.
Yeah, Runa. It's yeah, kind of. It says it's an adventure game inspired by modern and classic JRPG with a turn-based battle system, social links, and a story-rich science fantasy world. But I remember at the time, I think they were talking about it being kind of Xenoblade-ish. Um, but when you see all of the features that are going into it, you're like, man, like this will be like 3 years before this comes out. Like it seems like one of those things where the developer just keeps like adding and adding, and even like the trailer, like what they've got posted for trailers and stuff, like it's a very basic trailer. It's just like mostly a guy walking for the most part. So I'm
Hmm.
kind of concerned they're probably not too close in that one.
I mean, gaps aren't inherently a bad thing because it gets me time to play older games.
Yeah,
Um, but it's just weird. I've just had this like non-stop rush of like, oh, this game's probably gonna take me about 2 months to beat, and then the next one, like, I'll beat it in time for this game, and now it's like, oh, there's actually gonna be like a lull, and I'm
yeah.
I
Did
have to
you?
decide for myself. I think probably it's just that the new. I've been actually for the most part beating some of the games I buy. So
Yeah,
it's like I guess it sort of helped me in that way. Like, oh, I'll beat it in time for this, and then I play because I'm actually playing through them, at least the new games. But like I said, the low means I can probably squeeze one old game in there.
yeah. Did you ever play Thirsty Suitors?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I was gonna say
No, yeah, that was the
there
one you did an interview episode with, didn't you?
Yeah, and I just recently found out that they have their follow up game is coming
Oh,
out in 2 weeks. It's called Dosa Divas, Dosa Divas, and it looks like they use kind of a similar combat system to that one. It's kind of like the rhythm based. Um, they call it a spicy narrative turn based RPG, and it's funny because it's almost the battle system is kind of like Expedition 33 esque, and
yes,
with
I'm
with
seeing a GIF on the Steam page of the like the frisbeeing stuff. Oh
yeah.
no,
So and Thirsty Suitors, I like it was. It's funny because I found the Expedition 33 rhythm like too the timing based. I couldn't wrap my head around. I guess people said you need to listen to the audio cues for that one, but I just found it more random and kind of punishing. But Thirsty Suitors, I thought used it very well. Like it was very intuitive. So I ended up I beat that game and really enjoyed it because like I love they have like the animation is great and enjoy the humor that's in the game. Like the writing is in their games is pretty good. So this is what I was looking forward to. So I've got this one. This one is on my wish list. I think it's
it says
again
14th
it's
of April.
yeah, and I think I don't know if there's a price yet. Can't remember if they.
No, although sometimes I can check stuff like, is it only on PC on release day? Or
Um, I don't know if it's.
there's oh no, okay, well it's going to be about 30 Australian dollars, so
That's
similar
not too
price.
bad. Not yeah.
Um, I that actually just reminded me that there is a game coming out next week. That I will be playing. So there's a little, yeah, indie RPGs is also the answer. There are often new ones and old ones too. That People of Note one I played, that's coming out on the 7th, although on the PlayStation Store it starts at 11 p.m. So really it's like the 8th for me.
Sorry, what's the game?
People of Note, the one I read about in the
Oh
magazine,
yeah, 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 yeah,
that's coming out
yeah.
next week, and I know the price for that is about 38 Australian dollars because I saw it on the, like, yeah, I'm looking on the Switch eShop and that's telling me the actual price.
Oh, this is
37,
yeah,
yeah.
and this is in a permanent.
Um, that
Yeah.
one, the only thing is I'm waiting on reviews because seeing it Switch 2 exclusive means it might run alright. It didn't look too good on my computer that isn't that good nowadays anyway. So I'm just waiting to see how the performance or how it looks on Switch 2 or PS5, and I'm becoming a bit more of a graphic snob, I guess. And then part of that is that just like some games are just, it's not even like being a snob, it's like you straight up are releasing these games that don't run very well and don't look very well on my
Yeah.
console and you expect me to pay for it, and it's like, no.
Well, that's yeah. I'm pretty much like 99% in on the PC now. Yeah, gotta.
My computer's not very good, so it's not going to
Oh
get any
yeah.
better anytime soon, I tell you.
Well, it's funny. So my birthday and my son's birthday are pretty close together, and at the beginning of the year, and I got a graphics card, like a high end GPU for my birthday, and had put it in. I had kind of a, you know, good enough PC. The graphics card was probably worth more than the rest of the computer itself, but
Yeah.
my son wanted to build his own PC, so for his birthday, everyone got him like parts, and he put it together. He had everything but the GPU, so I'm like, all right, I got you can have my GPU. We'll put my GPU in your computer. So we got a pretty decent gaming PC now. Um, so yeah, so I got between that and the Steam Deck, it's just so easy and accessible to play PC games now. That's pretty much where I'm going. And then even I play a lot of my retro games on a Retroid Pocket 5, and there's an app out called Game Native, which basically it lets you run Steam games natively on the Retro Pocket. So like uh, it'll run the games pretty good. Like anything that's kind of like older or pixel based. Like I got a couple Metroidvanias working on there pretty well. games like Fading Afternoon and stuff. They all run well on the Retroid Pocket. So it's yeah. It's just everything's kind of PC these days now. So I've been mostly invested in Steam at this point.
So you're gonna get well. If you upgrade your PC, you won't need to buy a Steam machine, will you?
Well, that's the funniest thing is that I got the GPU. Like I had been saving money for the specific birthday because I was under the impression the Steam machine was going to be released by my birthday. So when my birthday came up, I'm like, okay, well, they don't even have a date for
No
this thing. So
window
like,
or
okay,
anything.
yeah. So, and at that point, the RAM apocalypse is like in full blown at that point. So I'm like, you know what? I don't even think this thing's gonna be cheap. So I'm like, whatever. I'll just put the money I had set aside for that into this GPU and get that instead. And then we had like my son's birthday's a month later, and we went through the exact same thing. It's like, okay, the Steam machine still doesn't have a release date, even like you know anything anytime soon. And it's like, you know what, just get the PC, who cares, like just get the parts. And we ended up putting a kernel of Linux on it, and it runs beautifully. Like he's got it just humming now. So we'll
Yes.
we'll see if the Steam machine comes in and it's like $700, then maybe there'll be some regret. But it seems like there's no way the Steam machine's going to be less than 1,000. So if it comes out at all, like it seems like every month that goes by is like less likely that this thing's coming out. And even if it does, I think it'll be in such limited quantities that it'll be impossible. Like it'll be years before
Hmm.
uh it's
Well,
available to.
I mean, in
So
Australia, I don't think the Steam machine was like officially sold for like not the machine, the handheld.
that yeah, the
Um,
Steam Deck. You guys were like 3 years behind almost getting the Steam Deck, I think.
yeah, I had to like grey import mine.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they're just like, no, we don't want to. We don't care about you guys. It's extra money, too much hassle. Uh, a lot of companies are like that. I think
yeah.
someone was talking a video about like, oh, we could port these old games onto the PS4 store, and I was like, oh, how much money am I going to make from that? And it's like, but it's still a profit though. Like,
Yeah.
you
Well,
need like
yeah.
real
If it's more
some
than
money.
zero, then do it.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's not negative number. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm mostly. My PC is crap, so it's not really good for anything. It's like I think it's dying, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I'm mostly on PS5 because like I'm like um I'm getting pushed into being forced onto digital with the PS5. I'm at least avoiding the game keycard things for a while. I'm also getting a better looking, better performing game most of the time.
Yeah.
Switch 2 is cool, but so many games are releasing with Switch 2 editions and it runs like total horrible, it looks bad, it runs bad, especially in handheld, and like that's the point, it's a hybrid console. Like you want to be able to like take it off the couch and not throw up when you look at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then I think you had mentioned the a lot of it too was that you had the physical copy, so that you had like but if it's just game cards or whatever, then like at that point, it's just digital copies, so it's you're not even getting that benefit now. So
yeah. Um, it's
so
like
it
obviously
must be affecting them
I
because
still
the
like new games. I still like new games at the moment. I'm still buying them. Obviously, some things you do get digital only because they're like indie releases that may or may not get a physical, or it's
yeah
just cheaper at the time. Um, but for the time being, like I'm switching over to the thing that's like is giving me physical and is also running better. Um, just with the caveat that I have to wait till it's my turn on the TV. That's my only problem.
yeah.
Um,
You can't even get a portal. It wouldn't, because then if the PS5's in use, it's of no use to you.
yeah, so you see the Wii U had that problem solved.
Yeah,
They had a TV mode switch or whatever, so you could you could play it in handheld, and someone could like. I think it was on a different channel though, but still sort of like a
yeah,
difference. But yeah, like then that port, I don't know who that's for. To be honest, not for me. It doesn't help my problem at all.
no.
Um, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're over a bit over an hour now, so I'll save my game for another day. It's a timeless classic, and some people may or may not be. This was a game club game. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of people along the way. Yeah, I think only two of us made it to the end so far. It doesn't sound like there'll be too many others, if any, unless they're quietly finishing it on their own. But I'll definitely talk about Strange Journey at some point. But no, I think we had a good conversation about Monster Hunter, and yeah, we'll add that. We'll see if I end up playing it down the road when a big bit discount comes on,
Hmm.
hopefully. But yeah, I guess other than that, if for folks, just if you want to talk more about any of the games, you can head over to our Discord, and we're only a couple or about 2 weeks away from the third issue of the Mage magazine. So keep an eye out for that. You can
It's
go to thethirstymage.com for the first two issues. Then they're free PDFs. Yeah, you can either read them right in your browser, or you can download them to. I use a comic book reader app on my iPad, and it looks fantastic. So, um, yeah, if anyone's got a tablet, I recommend downloading the PDF because it looks great in that.
You heard it here first. Give the Thirsty Mage magazine to your iPad babies.
Yeah, that's right.
Make sure they know about all the retro games they could be playing while there's no new releases.
Yeah, and I can't say that I've combed over it, but I'm fairly certain that it should be safe for you know most kids. I don't think there's anything too mature in them so far. I'll have to remember that now that
You'll have to do the. Did you? I don't know. You probably didn't because you're a bit older. So when I was a teenage girl, there was magazines for teenage girls, and they would have a section that was sealed, and you had to rip the like paper on the side down the line to open up those pages because they were about adult topics. Yeah,
Oh, that's funny. Oh, maybe one day if we have a physical version, we'll have to do that just for fun.
in case someone plays Bayonetta or something.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna review Honey Pop on the
Oh,
PC. I'm not. I hate puzzle games. So.
well, then we're safe. But yeah, okay. Well, I want to thank you, Paige, for joining me for this one. And
Yay.
yeah, I guess we'll see everyone out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye for now.